Recently, I've watched a video on the YouTube about the earning a big money is not now the only factor which businessmen or entrepreneurs are taking into account. More and more we are going to the business lifestyle model, which means that in astrology we are not only looking which exact yoga, Indi Dashamsa or super detailed charts will give us success or wealth. We are rather also seeing how this will impact our overall life, how much free time we have also to create. I've practicing Vedic astrology for more than 20 years. I've completed 5 years Parashara Jyotisha course and even longer the Jaimini Upadesha course. So I have seen many situations, and this question was always very important. How we are seeing the overall picture, what project or circumstance will be generally auspicious for us. We will use one example, but from it we will extract 4 rules, and you will be also then able to use it on your chart to see which career line is good for you, taking into account the overall auspiciousness. So let's roll the intro and start with the first one. We'll be going through a very important rule, because if that is ignored, this action you are doing may increase the debts or financial problem, conflicts with people and so on. So on the example, you will see that something which looks good on the first glance later may have some additional complication, which is very important to take into account to not incur any losses. So we know that this person is in the managerial role, but is not very satisfied with that. Let's see the chart. Of course, among the planets, the management is ruled by Venus. So what can cause the overall problems like conflicts and situations which are very stressful? Imagine you have a big machine which is bringing you water or wealth, whatever, in one place. So you are only focused on that, but then the same machine is creating or is pulling the water in some other rooms without your knowledge, so it is creating a lot of problems. What is exactly a bad position in the chart? Because, for example, if we will see that Moon and Mars, they on the first glance look nice. Moon is in the second house and Mars is very strong in the fourth house in something which is called Ruchaka Yoga. This is when Mars is in the Kendra, first 4, 7 and 10, and it's on sign or a Mula, Trikona or exalted. Then it is creating some Superman, someone who is able to create big things in life. So we have this Ruchaka in the fourth. Normally you would say, yes, we have to use that grace, that blessing. The Moon is 10th Lord in the second house, also very nice candidate. So why I've ignored that and chose something else? What were the rules here? We have to open the additional chart of Navamsha because the Rashi is not enough. So people who are using only Rashi, they are 50% right. And 50% is like coin chance. And therefore, if we open the Navamsha, we'll see that Mars in 8, Moon is in the 12th. So this is something to consider now. So to see if that career line is auspicious for you or not, you have to also consider Navamsha. And what we are checking here is the position, the strength, and the affliction. The affliction is when the planet is with the malefic or is afflicted by malefic. And the bad position is Dushtana, like 6, 8, and 12. All of these we are checking not only in Rasi chart, but also in the Navamsha. And also through this rule, we are comparing in Rasi's 6th house and the 10th house to see what is better, employment or business. Of course, there are more complex types of a dosha or affliction. Like, for example, we have a dagda, we have combustion, we have losing in the Karaka war. We have something which means that things are rejected by your soul. So there are many things to check. But this mentioned in the Rasi and in Navamsha, you cannot ignore. Now, the second rule we can call the rule of the prosperity. So to see whether this career line is good for you or not, we have to employ the rule which was a secret for some time, and then it was open and now we can use it. The thing is that if we choose something, it may be good for one area and not so good for the other area. So we can see that parts of our life are competing with each other. For example, the relationship and career life, they are in the Rajasic level. Relationship is Venus, career life is Mercury. So Venus and Mercury, these are the planets in Rajo Guna. These are the 3 type of energy. The Tamas, which is darkness, Rajo, which is passion, and Sattva, which is the goodness. But to all of those things to be nicely going on, without problem, smooth, with big creativity and fuel, we need to have the sattva. If you are bypassing this info, then what you are feeding through your product may not increase that base potential, which eventually can cause some burnout or some other types of problems. So we will employ this rule, and then this will be the answer why I have excluded also that Moon and that Mars. This will point at different planets. And definitely we can say that what is already supported by the sattva would be the kendra to the Moon, because it's the Sun, Moon, and Jupiter, which are those sattvic planets, those which are enabling the sustenance. And the kendra to the Moon, especially the 10th house, is very important. Kendra is 1st, 4th, 7th, and 10th. So 10th house from the Moon is bringing that career life to us, is basically bringing also the food to the table, is sustaining us through the social interactions. Why I've excluded the Moon if Kendra to the Moon is so good? What rule may show that we are not feeding that base? For example, in this chart, the Venus also is not fulfilling that qualification. And this can be compared to a situation when you got a nice offer for job and then you are going there and there is a lot of pollution, so your health goes down. Or even worse, in that job you have to cheat other people, so you are creating very bad karma, and in the next life you may not be born with 2 legs. Suddenly you have a tail and you have a fur, and or even worse, even you degraded to the lower type of a species. While doing our job, we want to be healthy and we don't want to create a bad karma. And also the free time, because if we have more space in our mind, this is also giving us more power to creativity, to write books, to write articles. Of course, this is very hard to get in this late stage of the capitalism, but at least if you know this point, then it is the bridge is easier. Why I've chosen the Mercury and Jupiter, why I skipped that Moon? There is this rule which is called the Jatagraha, when there is intersection between the Moon but also the Aruda Lagna, because Aruda Lagna is also society, but this is how you are building your place in that. So this is already like a manifestation of your ascendant Lord, so of your actions. So your actions here intersected with support of the society, you will follow that, you will not go against your Moon. And this is very important, because then your productivity, your mind, and your mission is appreciated in your effort, or is at least taken into account. What you need to do, you need to see this point in your chart, you need to identify what you are doing or you plan to do and see how this is connected. If this is not connected, then there is a risk that what you want to do or what you are doing is not feeding that base. For example, in my case, this is Cancer. Cancer is loaded by the Moon, and the Moon is in 8. So would you say I'm doing Moon in 8 thing? This is also having a yoga with Mercury, Trikona yoga in Navamsha, and also the Mercury is in Cancer in Navamsha, which is falling back at that Cancer. So Moon and Mercury thing. If I will do that, then this is feeding the base. The third rule is about the activating the problem unconsciously. We have to also take this into account. To see whether this direction of your life is auspicious for you or not, we have to see the following points. And most astrologers don't know this, so if you skip that, you may start something which looks favorable on the first glance, but then it will activate the other planets in your chart which are not so good. So we need to define a certain dynamic in the chart to see where are those possible red flags. This is the third type of filter. Again, we'll take the same chart and see how this Moon and Venus, so something which other astrologers, because these are the 10th lords, would take. This is also disqualified here if we take this filter. So we have the proof, because we know that person is doing the management and is not satisfied. Also, even if we jump to the Moon, is the Moon alone as a tip, as a project enough, or we have to connect it to other points, so the other points are healing the Moon, if the Moon is in some form of problem, which we'll discuss now. What in the chart may show a situation that looks as a tease for us? We should go there, but suddenly the problem starts. What it could be? There must be some good, something bad. It's like in the Tom Jerry stories, right? That there is some trap, you are touching that, activating, and then suddenly a big thing is falling onto your head. So let's take that Moon. Is that Moon really good? Because it's not joining any planet. Do we have another type of problem which may be caused by other planets? For example, planets in 5th and 9th, they are showing that Trikona yoga, but here it's not the case. What else we can do? So there is the aspect, the Graha Drishti. You need to take the planetary aspect or the Graha Drishti into consideration. Because if one planet which looks nice is aspected by other two malefics, then it is really afflicted. This is just like joining these malefic planets. So you can see that this Venus is already joined Sun and Rahu. So this is quite obvious. But for the Moon, we can see that Saturn and Rahu are also aspecting that planet. Theoretically, this is called a curse. This is something which in the Vedic text is seen as a curse. Of course, there are a little bit more detailed qualifiers for to be it more intense curse or more intense affliction. Just we can exchange that word for some types of problem we have, because most of us will have some curse of the chart. So we don't need to fear that. That is not something very rare or something very personal. It can be personal, but for very personal people. So for us, it is usually some type of something we did in the past life which was not good against some element, like against the water, against the fire, against the earth. And now all those blessings which are ruled by that element, like Venus can be marriage, may have some obstacle to get them because we afflicted this element in the past life. So in your chart, see one planet, it has to be afflicted by more than one malefic. So at least two. It should be either conjunction, planetary aspect, or it can also be kartari. Like one kartari is enough. For example, if you have second malefic and in the 12th malefic, this also qualifies for this affliction. This is very important because if you find the correct one, because there may be many in your chart, this one thing is ruling the main dynamic in your chart about the pain, about the blockages in your life. So this is very important for timing, for providing the remedy, and just understanding how this is all the time coming up in our life. So now on our basic level, we have to ask ourselves, would you support the career line which is also supporting you this problematic challenge? Probably not. So now we have finished the third qualifier. By the way, if you like me to help you interpret your chart, find those blockages, provide the remedies to unblock them, then you can find the link in the description. We can schedule a 60 or 90 minutes consultation on the Zoom. Now on the Calendly, there is this form, there is booking and choosing a day in one place. Fourth rule is about circumstances. So it's more external. The second one was especially internal, right? This Jatagraha thing or this Sattvic base. Now we are going to the circumstances thing, how to see that in the chart and how to be sure that whatever we will choose will not support the bad circumstances in our life. Because if that happens, even if you will take some chunk of wealth or chunk of status or fame, virality or anything you want, you may feel happy, but if you zoom out, this can feed in either bigger space or bigger context of time something inauspicious. So you need to understand what type of bigger category is related to what you may choose as your career life. Again, let's see that and think why I have not chosen that moon. Does it belong to some category? But first, to answer that, what we have to think about when analyzing the chart, what symbols in the chart would reflect those categories. Like for example, this moon. We have already excluded that moon based on the affliction in the Navamsha 2012, based on the curse. It was afflicted by Rahu and Saturn. We also excluded that based on the Jatagraha because it's not in the Trikona to Aruda Lagna, so it's not supporting that point. So already you see something which for other astrologers would look like a nice thing to advise, right? 10 Lord in a second. Simhasana Yoga, beautiful, go there. We have already excluded that based on the 3 points, and now the fourth will do the same, but through the circumstances. So the circumstances must be related to some positions of the planets. It's like the energetic Vastu. If you have, for example, planets in the one line, they are creating the Graha Malika Yoga. If you have planets in only 3 houses, there is some yoga for that. If you have planets in only 4 houses, also this is creating something. So yogas are defining the karmic vastu of your life, how various elements are there, and therefore they are like boundaries for the other yogas. For example, you may have many yogas, like 50 yogas in your chart, but all of them could be in between Rahu and Ketu. So you have either Kalasarpa or Kalamrita yoga. So these bigger yogas, which are like defining the overall structure or boundary, we call them the meta yogas. For example, Graha Malika yoga or Kalamrita Kalasarpa. I think Bandhana yogas we can also qualify as a meta yogas because they are defining the outer structure. The Nabhasa yogas, like Sarpa yoga, or those yogas when the number of houses is creating some results, this also will be having a higher point in their order than those lower yogas like Sun and Mercury together or something like that. If we would support a job which is related to Ketu or the Moon, we will automatically also activate that thing, that part of the chart. And of course, we can take all the types of moon-related work and see how they are placed in the Dashamsa chart, but the whole umbrella of moon-related work can be there. Of course, the good thing is that we can connect some of these jobs, some of these options coming from the moon. Like, for example, you are working in the medicine, but now we connected, we will give something Mercury-Jupiter. So these two, Mercury-Jupiter, are like not allowing these moon bad things to overflow. They will always, we could say, correct the bad things the moon could bring. So whatever this person will do, we have defined Mercury and Jupiter are the best. You can go through all these qualifiers and see that Mercury, Jupiter is going free from all these 4 rules. And therefore, we have advised this moon job is okay, but it has to be strongly connected to that Mercury and Jupiter. The Rasi and Navamsha is showing if, and the Dashamsa will show how you can do that. So to do that correctly, we need to have a rectified Navamsha, because the Navamsha can change like every 2-3 minutes. It could be at the border. If you add 1 minute, you have completely different Navamsha, and then the whole system to define which planet is good and bad, because you may thought that this planet is in the ascendant, which is good, but the real placement was 12th house because you have wrongly rectified the Navamsha chart. So to learn how to do this and to avoid any traps of the Navamsha rectification, you may consider watching this one.